Hello, I'm John D, and this is Bushfire Science. It's a series where we look at the science behind climate change and bushfires. In this episode, we'll look at how climate change is already affecting bushfires here in Australia. To discuss that, we're talking today to Professor Brendan Mackey from Griffith University in Queensland. He's also a coordinating lead author for the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And I'm glad to say that he joins us now. Good morning, Professor Mackey.
Morning, John.
In the media, we were told that the 2019 Black Summer fires were unprecedented. Were they really as unprecedented as they were made out to be?
Yes, they were unprecedented in three ways. First of all, the area burnt and where the fires occurred. Secondly, the forest types that were burnt. And third, their intensity. About 5.7 million hectares of forest, native forests, were burnt in southeast Queensland, New South Wales and northeast Victoria. Rainforest types burnt for which we had no previous record of them burning. And within the perimeter of the fire, very little of the forest wasn't burnt to some extent, maybe only 10%. Those unburnt areas we call fire refugia, and they're critical for post-fire wildlife recovery.
When you're looking at an extreme fire danger day, what are the key factors at play? Is the fuel load a big factor?
Well, there are four key factors: humidity, wind, temperature and drought. So when you have extreme fire danger, that means you have extreme fire weather conditions. You have very high temperatures, very strong winds, and you're normally at the back end of a drought. Under catastrophic fire weather conditions, it's the dryness of the fuel which is more important than the actual fuel load itself or the amount of fuel. If you think about it, under catastrophic fire weather conditions, almost anything and everything can burn.
We hear from scientists that climate change has had a serious effect on fire conditions. How can we be really certain that that's actually the case?
Well, John, it's important to understand that climate change is not something which might happen in the future. It's something which is happening now and will continue to occur. Australia is currently experiencing the impacts from the 1 degree of global warming that's occurred over the last 100 years. As a result of that, we've seen a dramatic increase, significant increase in fire weather conditions, particularly since the 1970s. There's been a number of peer-reviewed scientific studies which have shown how the big fires we've had in Queensland and Eastern Australia over the last 3 to 4 years is related to these worsening fire weather conditions.
I'd like to follow up on that. If the conditions are already like that now, how will projected climate change affect our future fire weather conditions?
Well, the best scientific projections we have of future climate conditions are that Australia will experience increasing temperatures, more heatwave events, and a deepening of winter drought in southern Australia. And in southeast Australia, that's a particular concern because that's a major trigger for megafires.
Let's talk bottom line, Professor. Will these dangerous fire conditions continue into the future?
Yes, it's likely that they will because our climate has changed and it's made the fire weather conditions worse. But there is a lot we can do about future climate. If we take climate action now, we can help avoid runaway climate change and avoid even more catastrophic fire weather conditions occurring in Australia.
Final question, Professor. From your personal point of view, what are the key takeouts from this new research?
There are four key points. The first is that we're already experiencing the impacts of 1 degree of global warming. Climate change is happening now. Two, the climate change that has occurred has brought with it a major increase in dangerous fire weather conditions. The third point is that climate science projects these dangerous fire weather conditions will only get worse if we fail to reduce greenhouse emissions and take climate action now. So this is everything someone can do. Everyone can take climate action, reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and help avoid dangerous runaway climate change.
Professor Mackey, many thanks for those insights. We appreciated you joining us.
You're welcome, John.
Now, if you want more information on the science behind climate change and bushfires, visit the website at bushfirefacts.org. I'm John D. Thanks for joining us.